This is Let's Make Waves podcast. I'm your host, Rana Al Basri Mawad, and I believe that we're all here to make waves. I created this podcast to help you build your brand by sharing with you tools, resources, and strategies to gain professional authority for better business opportunities. If you want to get unstuck, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Make Waves podcast with me, Rana Al Basri Mawad. And in this week's episode, I would like to talk to you about the topic of credibility and trust and how does that build or creates influence. So I'll give you a story. Back many years ago, in the beginning of my career in communications and PR, I was working with senior leadership, with public figures, and at the time, we did not use the term personal brand. So what we really focused on at the time was basically building the credibility and the trust of the personality. So fast forward, and while the media landscape has evolved dramatically from that time to now, one truth still remains constant, and that is credibility and trust that comes with thought leadership is the one that creates influence. And influence is one of the main pillars of having a strong personal brand. So we didn't use the same jargon per se, but it had the same principles. So today we understand that thought leadership is the new currency in our information saturated space. It's not just about being visible online anymore. It's about being consistent in sharing valuable insights and speaking on issues that impacts the industry. So I would like to use this time to break down the key aspects of thought leadership and how it can transform your brand, your personal brand, as a senior leader, as a founder, or as a CEO. So first, we need to understand thought leadership. And let's start by saying that thought leadership refers to the position of being an expert in a specific industry or a specific niche. It means that this person, this individual, is considered as an authority figure and an innovative thinker who has a deep understanding of the industry. So thought leaders share their knowledge and expertise by sharing their point of view, their unique perspective, be it on social media, through videos, through masterclasses, public speaking engagements, publishing a book, and through different means. The point is that they inspire and influence their audience with their unique point of view of the industry, and they also provide valuable insights on current or emerging trends that are happening within their community or within their industry. So basically, you are leading the thinking and shaping of the opinions of your industry towards a particular direction or a particular type of thought. All right? So now that we have a picture of what the word thought leadership is and what does it mean to build thought leadership, this role of having thought leadership is very much prominent in the brand development. So as an entrepreneur, senior leader, or business owner, building your reputation as a thought leader is very crucial to establish the credibility, to foster the trust, and to build the strong relationships that you want to build within your network, within your industry, and with the audience. It could be your customers, stakeholders, whoever they are. So the ambitious goal of your business and what you have in mind to go towards that, using your thought leadership is a way to guide your journey to inspire the people around you while building your company, while creating the products or the services that you're trying to create, and while putting yourself as a person of not influence, but more of a person who has a perspective that could be different in this area. Now, a positive step about thought leadership is that it has a great impact on the way your customers will see you, or the way your peers, if you're in a company, will see you, or if you're a senior leader, the way your employees within the company, or your customers, or your any kind of stakeholders will see you. And that's the impact of thought leadership when it comes to perception and on the brand reputation. Okay, so let's put it practically. Let's talk about some strategies for becoming a thought leader. I will start with the first one, and that is to identify your expertise and what are you really good at, and what's your point of view within a specific niche. So basically, what you have to do is you identify your expertise within that niche that is crucial to positioning you in a different light, so that you create that thought leadership image. And here are some effective ways to do that. Now, you can do that by either recognizing what are your unique experiences, your unique strengths that will differentiate you from others within the field or within the market. You can also know or identify what are the gaps in your industry where you can offer a fresh perspective or fresh insight or new ideas. Also, you are able to focus on a very specific subject that you're very passionate about and that you have deep knowledge about. You're able to pinpoint the audience who would benefit from your expertise and from your knowledge, and you're basically tailor making your messages towards them, so that you're able to guide them towards that direction or towards that idea. Also, you are able to keep up to date when it comes to industry trends, the changes that are happening in the industry, whether it is using your expertise to provide that kind of insight, or using your experience so that you can share certain maybe solutions to very common challenges that are happening within the industry and within the niche that you are focusing on. The second point is basically to publish and to share thought-provoking content and make that in a consistent manner. So not all types of content that you are sharing is only put out there through social media or through certain platforms, like, for example, on platforms like LinkedIn. Content is something that you can create, be it through publishing a book, or when you are a speaker somewhere or within an industry event or a forum. It can happen through using formats such as video or through master classes. There's different ways, public relations, PR, and publicity. So there's so many ways for you to share that content, but it's important that it's thought-provoking in the sense that it's not out there and out of the norm, but it is something that it makes people see the value of your expertise and your experience, and pointing out certain details that maybe not a lot of people know about, or they haven't seen it from your perspective or that kind of angle. So consistently publishing or sharing those type of content, it's very important in becoming a thought leader in general. So it's important to create and to share that kind of content where you kind of challenge the conventional wisdom, you inspire new type of thinking. And what's very important is, of course, your content should be relevant to your industry, to the niche, and it should add value to the audience that are following you on these platforms, or who are attending the events, or who would pick up the book that you've published. Other than that, the consistency factor is the one that builds the reputation, because it's the consistency of showing up or being out there that helps in building that reputation that positions you in this thought leadership perspective. So it could include anything, as I mentioned before, consistently in sharing content on platforms such as LinkedIn, maybe interviews. So there's the video format or podcast format. You can share your insights and your ideas through written form. So it doesn't always have to be in front of the camera. It could be on written form. It could be voice format. But as long as that there is that kind of cadence where you can establish the credibility and you can position yourself in that authoritative, trusted, industry knowing position. Okay, so that would be for the creation of the content and being out there, plus the consistency factor. The third point would be to engage with your audience. So it's not a monologue. There has to be some kind of back and forth connection with your audience on the different platforms or the different ways of connecting with them. As I've said, it could be in public speaking on a forum. But the important thing is to know that when you're engaging with your audience and you're responding to their feedback, or you're responding to certain comments, if you decide to publish something on LinkedIn, as we said, this kind of interaction is a great way not only to build an engagement of response, but it's a great way to build trust. So having that mentality of fostering online engagement, being active online, responding to comments, engaging in the debates and the messages, will make you become a person who is approachable, but also invaluable to your audience. When you're attending industry events, the network of the people that you might meet within their peers, industry leaders, exchanging of ideas, all of that builds in your image as a thought leader because you're showcasing your knowledge. So these kind of connections, they can lead to content sharing opportunities, speaking gig opportunities, any kind of opportunities where you are able to expand your reach beyond just the platforms that you own, such as your profile on LinkedIn, for example. It's also important in these kind of engagements, you will be able to get to understand the challenges from the point of view of the other. So this is a great way where you can kind of collect really valuable insight about your audience. What kind of questions do they ask? This will help you in actually having ton of ideas, like suggestive ideas of topics that you can address, or angles of this niche that you are focusing on, angles where you can address in different platforms or through different types of content. So it's actually very valuable when you open and you engage with your audience and become an active listener and having these like really thoughtful conversations, because then it kind of positions you in a way where you are not just a person who is on a senior level, or if you're a CEO, but also positions you as an effective thought leader. So you're a reliable expert. You're a person who has a place within the industry that you are in. So I think these are the major 3 points that you need to focus on when you want to start building that kind of the credibility factor as a thought leader, because that is the way that you build influence. And I'm saying that because a lot of senior people usually shy away from being active in terms of sharing their point of view or sharing their perspective or even sharing their experiences about anything within the industry, because there's so much relation that has been built that if I do that, then I am positioning myself as an influencer. Not at all. It's the point is not for you to become an influencer. The point is for you to become a person who has influence on the community or or the group that or the industry that they are in such a way that they can provoke thought for the people around them to see their point of view, to provoke thought of maybe something that is can be approached within the industry in a different way, to provoke the ideas of resilience and impact, but in a different manner within that industry. And with this, it brings us to the end of this week's podcast. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have found this episode insightful, please share it with your friend or with someone who might need to listen or to hear about this topic. I hope you did not forget to subscribe to the podcast. I would really appreciate it if you can take the time to leave a review, because that helps a lot in the podcast reaching more people. Till next week, please don't forget to keep making waves. Bye.